Okay, welcome guys to the business planning manage segment video tutorial. So basically, this is a quick video I'm doing to teach you how to fill this sheet, which is basically what Mr. Heinz asked you in terms of the action plan to take place for each month from now till April. So first of all, as you can see, you have the segments down here: corporate, WFNR, business groups, and leisure groups. We need to split business group to leisure group because, as you know, for Mr. Heinz, it's very important to separate these two in order to achieve also our banquet revenue. Now, each tier is exactly the same, meaning to say that I'm just going to explain one, and then by default, you guys will know how to fill the rest. First, you have the month here: November, December. You go January, February, all the way to April. March, April. The top part, you'll have the budget, which is already locked for each month according to the segment that was done by me, so you don't need to do it. Then the actual, which is basically a mirror on what we have in the Pico report for each segment in the month. And then you have the variance. So basically, this is a high-level situation of the segment for this month. Then you have the actions that we're gonna take place. So first of all, you're gonna do the probability score of the action you're going to describe. Now, I decided to add this column because, as we all know, we have certain actions that we know it will happen. Like, for instance, taking a 1,000 room nights from leisure groups. If we know that this will happen because we have this Golden Compass contract in place, so the probability of this to happen is very high. So you have a drop-down list here from 100 to 50, and also I understand that we have certain actions that we haven't tried before, or there's an area or a segment that we're gonna explore. So we don't know if this action is going to happen. Therefore, we have a lower score in this drop down list for you just to categorize. So for instance, as an example, I put here to get 250 room nights from pharma companies, and then as a second point, get 1,000 room nights from government, right? That for me is a long shot because we are not a government hotel. Then I'll just put 50% here. So it basically will help the person who's reading this sheet to understand how you categorizing your action. So continue, you basically describe the action in here. You can just type whatever you want. I'll recommend to get a very high level, and it's up to you how you're going to decide how to divide your efforts. So for instance, in corporate levels, let's just say we're gonna get a 400 room nights from pharma companies, right? Now these 400 room nights, we need to map it out. In this case, I put a column called targeted revenue. So in this case, we just mention the amount of revenue that we're gonna target, that we're gonna get out of this action. So let's say 200,000 here. And then we have business on the books. So we need to put in here how much we have from this action already on the books for November. This you will get only when you drill down your segment. So you in the Pico report, you can see how much you have from corporate. But out of this, let's say you have 749,000. How much out of this 749 are coming from pharma? So let's say is 50,000. So automatically you can see here the completion percentage and the risk of each action. So in this case, you have 50 out of 200 is 25% of the target. You have the risk still of 75 or losing 75% of this revenue, and so on and so forth. If you added 200 here, then therefore you will have 100% completion and 0% risk. So as I said, I recommend to have a very high level business plan for each month. I don't think you will have, or you will need more than 10 if you put a high level. Now, if you're gonna go and dismantle each and every action that you're gonna do, probably you will take more sales. If you do need more sales, you need to let me know so I can add it. You might think, oh, maybe I can add it myself, but then there's a lot of formula around this, so I'd rather do it myself for you to do it and then mess up the formula. Now, then you have the total here, which is basically total of the target revenue. The target revenue needs to tally with the budget. I'm not expecting to have an exact same number, but a similar number that describes that your actions are towards achieving the budgeted revenue. And the business on the books, of course, you have here when you add all the strategies and how much you have, you're basically going to have a high level understanding on how far are you from your plan to achieve the budget. Now, this business on the books total needs to tally with your actuals. So basically, if you have 749,000, you need to understand from where, right? So if it's corporate, how much is coming from pharma, how much is coming from I don't know, construction, and so on and so forth. So this is very important. These two needs to tally with these two up here. And then you basically need to go down and do the same thing for December, do the same thing for January. Now, which actions you may take, you might think. Now, we have the business plan here, which is basically what we submit for Marion, which will give you an idea what Savio said that we're gonna do to achieve our forecast. So in special corporate, which is basically all corporate, we have these actions plans over here. Then you have down here wholesaler, a section for wholesale. Then you have groups here. Then if you see, you have other tabs here. You have group notes, which is basically the strategies per quarter, and then the strategy per segment, corporate groups and leisure groups, and then one in corporate government. And at the end, you'll have a wholesale spreadsheet, which is basically how we map out the companies to produce and so on and so forth. So as you see, you have the necessary tools to build this action plan.